Good afternoon and welcome everyone to another stream here on DreamBank's channels. My name is Andy Frisky. I am a senior dream curator with DreamBank. Very excited for everyone to tune in today over the noon hour. A little bit of context as to who we are and why we are here if this is your first time joining us. So DreamBank is a free community resource put on by American Family Insurance. The whole reason why we exist, though, is to help inspire people to pursue their dreams. And in large part, that's done through the programs that we offer. So you're tuning into this event today, which happens to fall under our career series, but we have 9 distinct series at DreamBank, anything ranging from small business and entrepreneurial workshops to an inspiration, motivational wellness speaker series called Dream Big. We have a crafting series, Think and Explore, which is all geared around curiosities and conversations surrounding the future. So really try to appeal to as many different folks as possible. If you're viewing this on our Facebook page, go ahead and press that events tab. That'll give you a good concise list as to what we have upcoming, in addition to everything that we've put out since the end of March in 2020. One other thing I really wanted to highlight, though, as well, is our Dream Summit. So the Dream Summit is a multi-day event series that is packed with a bunch of motivational keynotes and inspirational workshops where you're able to meet like-minded attendees and speakers and explore your dreams as well as how to achieve them. This year's happens to fall on October 6th and 7th. I will go ahead and include that link right now. It is free of charge, though, and highly encouraged, even if you are a little bit interested, to go ahead and check that out. But I am very excited to introduce our featured speaker today, Allison Liddle. So Allison is a 3-time best-selling author of Life Under Construction, Designing a Life You Love, and the Art of Imperfect Action. All success comes from daring to begin and keep going. How to create a champion mindset. Top motivational speaker, leadership trainer, podcast host, CEO, and founder of Allison Liddle Consulting, president of Prosper Wealth Management, and mother to 2. Allison's companies have won national industry awards and trained leaders in the top 10 of the Fortune 500. Allison is passionate about helping high achievers launch to their next level in their lives personally and professionally. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Allison. Allison, take it away.
Wow. Thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate you and everything that DreamBank does. This is such an awesome opportunity for us dreamers to learn and grow together. So today I have the opportunity to help you launch into leadership. And you might be wondering, what does that mean, Allison? How can I launch into leadership? Great question. So today we're going to talk about your personality as a leader, and we're going to help you with your communication and how you're connecting with your team. And so with those 2 things, you're going to be able to personalize your leadership and really have the influence and impact that you want to have in your life, both personally and professionally. But first, I want to share a quick story. So John Maxwell, one of my mentors, says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I never realized that I would learn this lesson from my 5-year-old son when he started kindergarten. You see, when my son Logan started kindergarten, he was in my mom's kindergarten classroom. The funny thing about that is he called my mom Banana. So before school started, I sat down with Logan and I said, Logan, what are you going to call Banana when you go to school? And he said, Mom, don't worry. I am a professional. I will call her Mrs. Parks, her real name. I said, great job, buddy. That's exactly what you need to call her throughout the day. He's like, okay. So the first day of school, he goes in, has a fantastic day. I pick him up after school. I say, Logan, how did it go? He says, Mom, I did really, really good being a professional and calling her Mrs. Parks all day long. I had one slip up at snack. I called her Banana. Other than that, Mrs. Parks. I said, fantastic. The second day didn't go as smoothly. My husband picked up my son after school. My mom pulled my husband aside and said, things didn't go as smoothly today. Apparently, my son walked into the classroom in the beginning of the day. He went to the front of the classroom and he said, hey guys, sit down, listen up. He pointed at my mom. This here, she's my Banana, and she loves me more than all of you, and I will call her Banana. You see, when we're going on this journey of leadership, we never know where it's going to take us. I want to introduce myself. Thank you, Andy, for kind of going through some of these things. I'm Allison Liddle. I'm a mom to 2 amazing kids. Logan's now in 4th grade, and he still laughs about that story. My daughter, Avery, is a 1st grader. I'm the CEO and founder of Allison Liddle Consulting, president of Prosper Wealth Management, and I love laughing. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. So here's the thing about leadership, and here's what I really want to talk about first, is leadership is not a position, it's a decision. When I was in 7th grade, I had a track coach who said 5 words to me that completely changed my life, and actually it's the reason why I'm here today. He said, Allison, you are a leader. And at that time, I was being raised by a single mom, and I'd never heard those words before. But I decided that it sounded kind of cool, and I would go on a mission to become the leader that I thought that my track coach saw in me. Even if you don't have the position of a leader right now, the first person that you lead is yourself. And today, what you're going to do is you are going to grow in your self-awareness, in your self-discovery, and expand what you know about yourself so that you can connect with others at a deeper level. That, my friends, will help influence other people. Leadership is influence, right? And so this all kind of comes together. So as we learn more about ourselves, as we make the decision to be a leader, we can all be leaders. So here's the thing. The last 18 months have been crazy, haven't they? And during this crazy 18 months, I kept thinking to myself, it kind of reminds me of my life under construction journey. There was a time in my life, it was about 6 months, when everything that could go wrong in my life went wrong. Let me explain. So at that time, I had a preterm baby, sold a house, and I had a baby and a toddler when we were trying to sell the house. Just note to self. Moved to a new city. I couldn't even find the gas station or the grocery store. Like, I didn't know where anything was in this new city. So here I have a baby and a toddler, and I'm driving around and I'm lost all the time. Then we decided to buy land because why not, right? So we bought land and we're like, hey, why not build a house? Well, we still have this brand new baby and a toddler, and we're in a new city. And so we're going to build a house now. If you've ever built a house, you know it's pretty stressful and there's a lot to do. In all of that, for whatever reason, I remember specifically one day I was in the playroom with my kids and I decided to rebrand our entire business, our financial planning firm, with construction paper and markers. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it happened. Then, because I wasn't busy enough, I decided to start another business because this leadership development thing, it kind of sounded interesting to me. And I wanted to speak with other people. I had 2 cancer scares, which was not fun. I joined the John Maxwell team to develop myself as a leader. And then I received a call that my mom had breast cancer. So that all happened in about 6 months. And I felt like an absolute crazy person. It was so much to deal with. Now, this is 2020 Life Under Construction, and it's meant to be funny. So if you laugh, that's okay. I pick these things specifically so that you would laugh. So the first one is a star went missing. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Where did it go? I don't know. Also, imagine walking your dog down the road, looking up into the sky, and seeing a mystery drone the size of a car flying up in the sky. Well, that happened in Colorado and Nebraska. One day, right after shutdown in Wisconsin, I remember my husband was like, Allison, murder hornets. And I was like, what are you talking about? Apparently there's murder hornets. I don't know where they went, but I don't hear about them anymore. So that's good. Then this is kind of a funny visualization is imagine a monkey walking through a lab with a COVID sample. That would be crazy. Poland accidentally invaded Czech Republic. I don't know where the communication got crossed there, but that's a problem. And then the Pentagon released 3 UFO videos because why not, right? And here's the question I kept asking myself during all of these crazy external things happening is what is happening? How many of us felt like this? Like you'd wake up every day going, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Well, here's the thing. We have all of these things happening in our lives. And as leaders, it's important for us to check in with ourselves. And so right now, this is one of my favorite quadrants. And I share this with many of my clients because I want them to identify where are you right now, right? We had a whole bunch of stuff happen. And now I want you to kind of analyze, how am I feeling? How am I doing? So I'm going to describe this chart. It's called the energy quadrants. And really, On the left-hand side, you'll see survival zone and burnout zone. And on the right-hand side, you'll see performance zone and recovery zone. On the top of it, you'll see the high emotion. And on the bottom of it, you'll see low emotion. On the left, negative emotions, and on the right, positive emotions. So we kind of understand what's happening. Here's the thing about emotions, is that we cycle through about 8 to 12 emotions every single week. If you wanted to, you could probably cycle through, like, what emotions am I having on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, and you would have about 8 to 12 emotions that you're cycling through. Here's the issue. When we have a whole bunch of change happen, our brain doesn't like it, right? It steps outside its comfort zone. It's uncomfortable to change. And especially when we're having external change happen, it's really hard for us to function and to understand what's going on, because we like certainty. And so what I like to do is I like to share this to help you kind of figure out, okay, how am I doing right now? So survival zone is if you're feeling a lot of anger, fear, resentment, or defensive,ness, you're feeling anxious. This might be in your communication. It might be in the feelings inside of you. It might be in your conversations with, loved ones or with people at your team. You're in survival zone. If you're feeling burnout, you're feeling defeated, depressed, exhausted, or hopeless, right? And so you kind of cycle through those emotions, and it's really hard to understand where we're feeling that unless we look at this. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm in burnout zone right now, right? The cool thing is, as soon as we recognize and we're aware of it, we can jump over to solving that challenge or that emotional challenge by looking at where the quadrants on the right, we can go into performance zone or recovery zone. So what I like to ask myself, if I'm feeling a lot of anger, what would make me feel more confident? How could I feel more joyful? How could I feel more connected, challenged, or happy, which will help us go into that performance zone? As high achievers, that's a place that we love to live. And unfortunately, we can't live there all the time, right? We still need recovery. Recovery zone is where we feel relaxed, where we feel peaceful, tranquil, and mellow. And so a lot of times what I tell my high achieving people that I'm talking with, people that I'm coaching or people that I'm training, is that you need to schedule recovery into the work that you do, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, or you have to take a week off to just kind of relax yourself. And so the interesting thing about this chart is over 77% of the population is in that survival or burnout zone. Only about 23% is on that right-hand side or the positive emotion area of this chart. The reason I share that with you is because as we are trying to work with our clients, our customers, our teammates, even ourselves, we need to recognize, where am I and what do I need in order to feel empowered and feel like I can be the best version of myself in the work that I do. Here's my goal for you today. I want to help you feel empowered. I want you to feel stronger and more confident, especially at controlling your life and claiming your rights. But it starts with you having taking a moment to observe, where am I right now? What do I need? How can I feel like the best version of myself? And then as I feel good, then I can pour out to others, right? A lot of times when I'm talking to leaders, especially now, and I've talked to leaders all over the world, they think that they can change the world, but they don't think about changing themselves, right? And that's what we're working on today, is really thinking about ourselves, really thinking about becoming the best version of ourselves today. So one thing that Andy shared with you is this little survey. If you've already printed it off, fantastic. If you haven't printed it off and you don't have access to it, that's okay too. And so I want you to take and grab this chart. If you can print it off, fantastic. If not, that's okay. But this is an exploratory report. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a pen and this chart, and you're going to go from left to right and answer which describes you the best. So for example, people often encourage me to slow down, listen, hurry up, or try something new. And where I want you to think about yourself in your work, right? Because a lot of times what we'll see as leaders is if we'll try to apply this to every area of our life. And sometimes we show up in different scenarios in different ways, right? So this is you at work. And then the next one, is there something if there is something I really want, I would be likely to work for it, ask for it, save for it, or plan for it. And you can go through the chart that way. If for whatever reason you don't have this chart or access to it, you could also just write down which answer, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and see what number you have more of, and that will give you the total at the bottom. When you're finished, just take a little bit of time to add up which area you have the most at the bottom. So I'm going to give you about a minute to complete that. When you're finished, if you could go into the comments and give me a thumbs up or a yes or I got it, something awesome, that would be fantastic. And that will help me know that we are finished with that exploratory report. Angie, yes, in the link above, you should be able to access that exploratory report. Just put it into your browser. Okay, friends, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds to finish up. All right, friends. So if you do not have the actual exploratory report, I'm going to go for it right now. So what I would ask you to do is just listen up, and I will describe everything that is in here. We're just going to do it in a different fashion right now. Okay. Awesome. So the first personality type is D, or dominant type personality. We have about 3% of our population that has this personality. You seek control, you're decisive, you are direct in probably the communication that you give or how you address issues, and you love to get results, right? You're one of those people that is constantly striving for results. One thing that might cue you off if you are a high D is if you constantly have another goal that you're going after or a project that you're working on. This is awesome as a leader because if you are D-wired, you have D-wired strengths, you're a born leader, you're dynamic, you're decisive, you're goal-oriented, right? So it's easy for you to have goals and you're constantly taking action toward them. You seek practical solutions. You're an activator. So here's the thing about an activator. Is you like to see how things fit together and you like to make things happen. So what that looks like in a team setting is you will see the strengths of others and you will try to get them activated and get them going. You push things forward, which is really awesome. Another thing that you like to do is you lead and organize, whether that's an event, a project, your team, or even in your friend group. You might be leading and organizing things often. And you excel in emergencies. So if something is coming up and it's hard or difficult, you kind of just like focus. You're able to find clarity in that chaotic situation. Some areas of growth for D. And so I like this as growth because it doesn't mean that it's a weakness. It's an area where you just want to spend a little bit of time thinking about this area because you might be really great at it, or it might be an area that you want to put some more time and energy in growing in. So one is realize others may be right. That seems kind of harsh, doesn't it? But what we're talking about is recognizing the strengths of other people's perspectives, right? Just taking a moment and just recognizing that. And a lot of times D-wired people do this, but it's just another area to think about. Another thing is lead, don't push. And so one of the things it might feel like you need to, that you operate faster than some of the people on your team. But a lot of times you just need to wait for them to catch up and help them cast that vision, and so that they can come with you. And it's a beautiful thing. Once you can take a little time to step back and get those people on board, now you can move even faster. Take time for family or friends or having fun. That's a really important part of D. And so remember when I showed you that energy chart, the take time for family or fun or recovery, right? Taking time to really have some self-care, exercise, laugh, do something that makes you really happy. Practice encouraging others. I mean, you should encourage yourself, but also encourage others and put other people first too. Here's I personality type. So here is an influencing personality. Remember, leadership is influence. So this type of personality, it comes pretty natural to you to influence others. You're very persuasive. You like to get your point across. You like to help people understand your point of view. You're a little bit spontaneous, right? You just never know what you're going to get, which is kind of fun and interesting. You're friendly. You make friends pretty easily because you know how to connect with others. And sometimes you even like the spotlight. That doesn't bother you. Other people might be afraid to, step in front of a crowd and talk or take charge in a meeting, but you're okay with that. That's one of the areas of your strength zone. About 11% of the population has the I or influencing type personality, which is completely awesome, right? So here's some of your strengths. You are outgoing, right? For the most part, you're pretty outgoing. You like to be around people and you get energized when you're around people. You volunteer for things. It could be for jobs. It could be for projects at work. It could be in your classroom. Like you're constantly looking for ways to help out others. You make friends easily. You're emotional, right? And you can use that as a strength in understanding the feelings around the work that you're doing. You're inspirational, right? People look at you and they say, hey, I like what that person's doing. You have high energy. Sometimes people will be like, how do you have so much energy? And it just comes naturally to you because that's just kind of how you're wired. You can be very creative. And here's one thing. If you are an I leader, you want to take time and space for creative thinking, right? It might be a block of time that you schedule for yourself every single week just to think, which sounds a little crazy, but it's a place where you might get some of the greatest ideas or solve some of the hardest challenges that you're facing in your organization. But giving yourself that space to be creative is really important. And you're a good speaker, or you communicate really effectively. Some I-wired places for growth is you need to keep your promises, right? Just make sure you're following through. Or if you have somebody really detailed on your team, partner with that person to help you stay on track of what it is that you're supposed to be doing, right? Because a lot of times high energy, creative types are, they're doing a whole bunch of different things. And so making sure that you're on task. Learn to make listen schedules. I'm a high I, if you haven't already noticed. And every Monday, or today is Tuesday, I have to force myself to sit down, look at my planner, block out all my time. What are the things I need to do this week? It's like torture. But if I didn't do it, it would be very difficult for me to stay on track and know where it is that I need to be, like speaking to Dream Bank right now, right? Also, another hint for high I's who are very creative or out there doing a lot of things, and this is actually for any leader, is set timers on your phone or schedule things and add alerts to help you stay focused. Be punctual. And then partner with someone for accountability for that growth. So we are on S. S is a supportive type personality style. Super wonderful. And guess what? 69% of our population has this type of personality. Super wonderful, right? You're super steady. You're team oriented, right? So being a leader is really easy for you because you love the synergy of a team. You follow through, you have a lot of loyalty to your organization, to your team, to your family, and you're very accepting of others. You're accepting of different perspectives, and that's really amazing. Are you S-wired? So S-wired strengths are you're easygoing. You go with the flow, kind of. You're well-balanced. You might be a little bit quiet or reserved, but you're funny, right? And so that's a really great connector as a leader. You're agreeable. You're a good listener, right? And that's a really key part of being a great leader. You help and you look out for others. So that's where support comes in. You're looking for ways that you can serve others and how you can support them in the work that they do or the work that you're doing with them. You're consistent, right? People know what they're going to get with you. You are very, very consistent. You're reliable and dependable. So if you're an S leader, gosh, you have a lot of the strengths that you need in order to just kind of help serve your team at a really high level. So S-wired growth. Get comfortable speaking up. My dear friend, you have amazing ideas. And a lot of times what you'll do is you will sit back and you'll want to listen to everybody rather than share your awesome ideas. So feel free to come to a meeting and have maybe a couple ideas written down that you pre-thought of, or during the meeting, take a moment to share what it is that you're thinking, because you have really amazing ideas and people need to hear you. Say what you mean. So what this might look like is practicing or writing down or preparing what it is that you want to say before you do it, because sometimes any of us, right? Doesn't matter what personality type you have, you might get stuck or stumble on your words if you're in an intense setting, right? So taking a moment to say, okay, I'm going to just prepare myself so I come into that situation, I feel really strong and confident. Move into action with enthusiasm. Move into action with enthusiasm. Get ready and excited about things. Don't say, I don't care. Make a choice, right? You have a valuable insight and perspective, and people need to hear it. And learn to take action. C, this is our final personality type. C, or calculating. You're very compliant. You're analytical. You're a planner, and you love accuracy. I like to think about this as like, if you like Excel spreadsheets or numbers or calculators, you might be a C, right? If you like to figure things out, you might be a C. Well, 17% of our population has this type of personality as their strength zone, which is fantastic. We need you Cs, and we definitely need you as leaders. If you're C-wired, some of your strengths are that you're analytical and logical. You think through processes and systems all the time, and you can take and you can connect seemingly unconnectable things and make sense of it, which is really beautiful. You're neat and organized, which is awesome, right? You know where to find everything. You're creative, you're conscientious, you seek perfection, which is amazing, right? I think about CPAs. A lot of time physicians or doctors are a high C, financial advisors, people that work in banks, people that work in insurance, right? You're very detail oriented, which is awesome. You're also a deep thinker. You're a deep thinker. My husband, Tony, don't tell him I told you this. And if you're watching it, I'm sorry, sweetheart. He's a high C. He's a financial advisor, and he gets into his deep thinking. And one of the ways when I see him thinking too much, right, I'll be like, okay, do you want to go for a walk with me, sweetheart, or something? So that's another way to process your thoughts is really to move your body and get out of that, high brain and say, okay, I'm going to get into my body. I'm going to move. You easily can see problems or errors, which is really great at when we're solving challenges or hard things. C-wired growth is that you seek out the positive. Take a moment to write down all of the awesomeness that you are. Like, I'm not kidding you. If you are C-wired, even if you're any type of leader, if you're any of these personality types, I want you to take a moment right now to write down some words that describe that awesomeness that is you, because we need you to seek out the positive. C-wired growth, except others are not perfect, and neither are you. None of us are perfect, right? We're perfectly imperfect, and that's cool. I mean, I don't understand necessarily that growth area, but that's okay. Learn to be realistic for yourself and others, right? We have high expectations of ourselves. Any of you do. When I'm speaking about this, this isn't a C-wired growth. This is an all leader growth, right? A lot of times we need to kind of bring ourselves back a little bit in order to move forward and set some more manageable goals so that we can feel like we are fulfilled and then go to that next level. Learn to encourage yourself and others, right? You might actually have to put something in your calendar or in your reminders to take a moment to write a thank you or text somebody or do something encouraging for others or for yourself. It's important because a lot of times with leadership, we get so busy doing that we forget that we are being a leader and that we need to support others and we need to speak up more. So here's kind of the quadrants that we're looking at. So we have the D, I, S, and C. And this is the DISC exploratory. So I'd love for you in the comments if you could share, what area did you kind of find you resonated most with today when you took this survey? That would be really fantastic. I'd like to read through those. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do, and I know that there's a bit of a delay, and so we're going to start to see some of your personalities coming through the comments, but we are going to actually brainstorm what are some key qualities of a great leader because we're launching into leadership, right? And so here we are. Okay, we got a D here. Nice. Awesome. Good. I'm glad, John. That's fantastic. So what are some key qualities of a great leader? So if you're a D, an I, an S, or a C, all of you are really fantastic leaders. And you have the strengths and abilities and qualities to really influence people in a positive way, right? So now, we've got an S and a C, an I and an S. An S, Rich, S and C combo, perfect. A DI, awesome, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. That's fantastic. That's super helpful. Fall between a C and an I, equal on each. Awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you, Anna, for sharing. Wonderful. So the next thing we're brainstorming is qualities of a great leader. And here's how I like to kind of lead this question is how many of us, if we took a moment, we could think of an amazing leader in our life. It could have been a teacher we had in elementary school, a coach we had in high school, or a supervisor or boss that we've worked for in our work that we do. How many of us can get that picture in our head, right? I bet you have one right now. So now what I want you to do is go a step further. I want you to think about why was that person a great leader? What qualities did they possess? And I want you to share it in the comments. I'm going to read through those. And so that we can share kind of what does it mean to be a great leader? I'm waiting. Qualities of a great leader, my friends. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I know that I'm asking you questions and having you comment, but I really like to have this when we're doing virtual type trainings. It's super, integrity. Awesome. Thank you, Doreen. Breathes life into someone without it being a show. Encouraging. Awesome. Angie, great job. Joanne, people wanted to follow them, right? People really want, Rich shares compassionate, empathetic, encouraging, caring. Awesome. Here we have encouragement again, people that care about others. John, honesty. So there's the integrity. What else do we have? Jamie, understanding, goal-oriented, team-focused, strategic thinker, very relational, cared about the needs of others and her vision for the team. Love these. Oh my gosh, you guys are so good at this. This is fantastic. Okay. So we've got the ability to communicate and share thoughts, reasons, and whys. Expanded my thinking and viewing things from a different point of view. Respectful. Wow, those are amazing qualities of a leader. And I bet we're going to get some more coming through. But look in the comments right now because you might want to write these down. Right? I don't have the ability to type them into our PowerPoint right now, but I'm sure that we can capture those because those are exactly what I'm talking about. when we're thinking about launching into leadership, we really need to think about who are we being, right? Less about doing. A lot of times when I'm talking to leaders, whether they're trying to grow a business or an organization, they're like, okay, well, we need to do all of these things, Allison, right? And a lot of times I have to say, okay, but who are we being? Who are we showing up as when we come to work? Are we inspiring people? Are we connecting with people? Or are we rushing through our work? One story that I always think about and that I try to remember is I worked at a nonprofit. I was a leader of a nonprofit. And there's this one person who came into the office and she was awesome at her job, right? She's very detail oriented. She got everything done. And every single day at 8 a.m., she would go into her office, shut the door, get her work done. And she was super diligent, right? There was nothing wrong with her work ethic. She was amazing. And at the end of the day, around 5, she would walk out. A lot of times she would even skip lunch, right? She would walk out and she would leave and go home, right? She was getting all of her reports done. She was meeting all of her numbers. Everything was fantastic. But one day the supervisor pulled her into the office and said, hey, we need to talk. And she said, what? And he said, I need to bring something up to you. Are you aware that you're walking in and you're passing all of your work during the day? She's like, no, I'm getting all of my work done. I'm getting all of the tasks done, right? All my reports, everything is perfect. It's all there. And he's like, yeah, but you walk past all of the people on your way to your office and then you shut your door and you're not really available to anybody throughout that day, right? So as leaders, we really have to think about how are we showing up for the people in our office. That conversation that you have with the person that you are in the office with, or that even, Andy was a great example of this. When we would get ready for this presentation, he would take a few moments in the beginning. I don't even know. I think this is just kind of habit for him because he's a connector, but he would take a few moments and he would share, what's happening in his life, or he would ask about what's happening with my family. And we would just have this conversation. That's a really great connecting point, right? And to be a great leader, we need to connect with the people that we're working with. So I want you to think about that. Here's some of the key qualities of a great leader. And it's awesome because some of you guessed the same things that I was going to share with you. Character. Do you act with integrity, right? Are you honest? And that's exactly what all of you came up with. Self-leadership. How can I do the right thing? Really understanding that we lead ourselves first and then we can influence others. And the interesting thing about self-leadership is that we need to do it every single day, right? It's like a never-ending journey that we're on. Remember that energy quadrant that I showed you where we're either in survival, burnout, performance, or recovery. If you're a leader, a really high quality leader, you need to be checking in with yourself and your energy on a daily basis. You need to know, okay, here's where I'm at, or here's where I can get better. Because if you're drained of energy, it's really going to be hard for you to effectively manage and lead the people that are around you. And last but not least, and this is a biggie, value people. How can I serve others? Right? That story I just told you illustrates this point, is that person was fantastic at doing her job, but she wasn't taking the time and energy to be an effective leader, which says, I value people. How can I serve others? How can I have conversations to say, hey, how are you doing? What can I do to help you? How can I be of value to you? And as leaders, it's really important for us to look for ways to add value to the lives of others, and especially the people on our team. So why learn the qualities of leadership? Why is this all important, right? I think of leadership as this iceberg. And a lot of times when I talk to companies or I'm talking to a client that wants to hire me, they're all focused on the skills of doing, right? I get it. I own a financial planning firm. I completely get that revenues, sales, marketing, all these things that are very tangible. Those are the things that we typically focus on. So why leadership development? Why does this matter? Being is so much more important, right? Who am I being as a leader? How can I positively influence the people on my team? And then how can we collectively positively influence those people that we influence, which is our clients and our customers, right? The being comes before the doing. And a lot of times people get that backwards, and then they wonder why they keep running into the same issues over and over and over again, right? So understanding that, who am I being in this situation? And then that will lead to our doing. So Zig Ziglar has an amazing quote. If you first help people get what they want, they will help you get what you want, right? We want to put people first. We want to put our team first. What can I help them with? What do I need? What do they need of me? And here's a little hint, my dear friends. If you've never been that type of leader and you're like, Allison, how do I even start this? Have a meeting or a conversation with your team or your clients or customers and say, how can I help you? Like, where are you at right now? What do you need from me? What would be the thing that would help you the most? Super simple, super easy, right? How can I make this easier for you, right? And that really helps put that person first, and it helps you gain credibility with that person because they know that you care. So next up, so this part of the conversation, the next little section, how we're going to end this presentation today, is really about connecting as a leader, right? I'm kind of shifting into that area of, okay, now we know what type of personality we have, but now as a leader, we want to connect with people because that's how we're going to influence them, right? If we're a great leader, we understand our personality, but we aren't connecting with people, there's a disconnect, right? And so I want you to think about someone you really like. Write down ways they have connected with you. Somebody that just like, oh my gosh, I just absolutely, I'm amazed by this person. And if you could, share that in the comments, okay? Just like we did before, I want you to share how, what are the ways that person has connected with you? It could be a mentor. It could be a coach. It could be a friend. It could be somebody that you work with. What are the things that they did in order to connect with you? Okay, I'm going to wait a moment. I know we have a little bit of a delay. You guys you're all doing so well. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for interacting. I hope you appreciate this as much as I do. Okay. It's like having similar interests so that you have things in common and connect that way. Awesome. That is a fantastic way to connect with others, is kind of find common ground, right? What do I do, or what do I like that person likes as well? Are there any other ways? Okay. Sending gifts, checking in. Oh, those are fantastic. Shows me consistently how accurate and honest he is. And okay, checking in on me, sharing information they thought I might be interested in, appreciation and recognition for my work. That is awesome. Thank you, Rich, for sharing that. That's so awesome. Wonderful. So that's the interesting thing about connecting, is it takes a little bit of effort, but it's things that, it's just adding a little bit more to let that person know that you care. I have one connecting story I want to share really quickly. My friend Ria is an amazing connector. I connected with her about 5 years ago when I was writing my first book. And today, out of nowhere, she shared a post of mine. Not super crazy, right? On social media. But the words that she said were so meaningful, and they made me feel so special. And so it's, connecting can be something that doesn't take you too much longer, but it shows that you care about that other person. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. So some questions that you want to ask yourself when you're trying to figure out whether or not you're connecting with another person, whether that be with a client or customer, whether that be with a friend or with your team, is, do they know me? Do they like me? And do they trust me? Know, like, and trust. That's what I think about all the time. Do they know me? Right? Have I shared something personal with them that they get to know me? In our conversation today, that I'm a mom, right? That I think my kids are amazing and I love them, and that they're kind of funny too, right? Do they like me? I'm not quite sure if you like me yet. I'm hoping you do. And do they trust me? Do they see me as a credible expert, right? Or do they trust that I'm going to keep whatever they're telling me secret, right? So trusting is really important piece of that puzzle too. The Harvard Business Review says the number one criteria for advancement for professionals is the ability to communicate effectively. The number one thing. And yet many of us take a lot of time and energy putting, all of this energy into other things, when if we just took the time and energy to communicate, to connect, that would really help us in impacting others and influencing others at a different level. So how are some ways that we could connect one-on-one? Here's the thing. If the next meeting you have one-on-one, I want you to come prepared with 2 to 3 questions for that other person. 2 to 3 questions about, maybe do a little research about them, find out a little bit about them, whether it's personal questions or professional questions or things about their industry. Another thing that you might want to do is give them a gift, right? Just like you came up with, you bring something of value, a quote, a book, give them something when you get together. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. And I see John Hill talked about guiding you, thoughtful advice, supportive, right? So thinking about these connecting pieces and then serving them. Is there anything I can do to help them? At the end of conversations, one way is, how can I help you? What can I do to serve you? What might you need from me, right? Sounds kind of sounds silly at first, but if you get into the habit of saying, how can I serve you? What can I do to help you? What else might you need from me? People get in the habit of seeing you as a supporter in their life and in the work that they do, right? And as leaders, we want to be those people that can support and connect people and help them. And so making sure that you're preparing the questions, you're giving a gift, or you're serving them. Well, what about a group? What if you have a presentation this week and you're like, hey, Allison, I need to connect with the whole group or a team of people. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to compliment people for their ideas and actions, right? If they're giving you bad ideas and actions, don't compliment them, obviously. I'm just kidding. But really, look for real reasons to compliment them. Add value to them. Share information that maybe they haven't heard in a while, or share some of your expertise with them. Give them a personal story, something to add value to them. Celebrate their successes. Awesome, right? When I was leading a nonprofit, I would look for reasons to have a party. If you are in a team right now and your team is not very energized, look for a reason to have a party. Even if it's like, you're like, okay, Allison, we're working remotely. What could we possibly do? Have a hat party, right? Wear silly hats and all come together and celebrate successes that you've had over the last month or so, right? And prioritize them. Let them know how important it is that you're speaking with them and how important that you value their time. Every single time that I try to get on stage, I try to let those people know that I'm super grateful that they have taken the time and energy to spend their day or their time with me. Super humbled and excited to be able to share my message with them. But when we do that with our teams, what they see is we don't expect them to show up at their jobs, right? There's so many people that are looking for different jobs right now. As leaders, if we can say, you know what, I'm so humbled and honored that you chose to work with us and you're bringing your expertise here. Imagine what that would do to the team environment. What would your culture look like if you showed up at your next team meeting like that? It would just like energize everything, right? And you'd have these amazing ideas. Connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in a way that increases your influence with them, right? As we connect with people, we increase our influence with them. Remember, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. We're doing these things because as we can connect with people at a deeper level, we're going to be able to influence them and we're going to be able to lead them, whether it's a team or an organization. I want to share a quick story about Paraguay. This is in Asunción, Paraguay at the university. I went there to do transformational leadership change, and that sounds really fantastic, except here's the kicker, is I didn't know how to speak their language. And it didn't click with me that I didn't know how to speak Spanish, and it was probably going to be difficult for me to connect with them until the plane hit in Paraguay. And I remember getting off the plane and going, oh my gosh, I have to work through a translator. How in the world am I going to connect with my audience, right? And here's the thing. And laughter, smiling and laughter were the things that really connected us sharing personal stories, talking about my kids, all the things I typically would do if I was in the United States, they worked perfectly with Paraguay. So if you're working with people from different countries, recognizing that we're more alike than we are different. And so you can still laugh and you can have fun and bring your energy into that situation to connect with them. And it's an amazing way to move forward. So some connecting signals. I know that we have about 10, 15 minutes left of our conversation. I want to leave some time at the end to have some conversations with all of you and answer any questions you might have. Just so you kind of know where we're at with this presentation. So connecting signals. And this is how you're going to know that you're connecting with others. Okay, here's how you're going to do it. And this is a secret. Don't tell anybody else. I'm kidding. You can tell people. Okay, connecting signals is you're going to see that other person or that team going that with extra effort. People will go the extra mile. Unsolicited appreciation. People will say positive things about you or about your business or about your school or about your classroom. Like they are going to say, oh my gosh, Mrs. Smith is amazing, right? Unguarded openness. People will demonstrate trust. What might start happening in your team is you're going to start to have deeper conversations with the people on your team. With your friendships, somebody might be like, you know what, I'm really struggling with this and I just wanted to talk to you about it. Or, you know, Allison shared that energy quadrant and unfortunately I looked at it and I saw that I was in survival mode. So could we talk through that? They're going to feel open. They're going to feel comfortable with you. And as a leader, we want that. We want people to feel comfortable around us. We want to be able to help them and overcome challenges and obstacles. You're going to have increased communication. People are going to express themselves more readily. They a lot of times I know this is happening when they're like, I've never shared that with anybody. Oh my gosh, Allison, why did I share that with you? Right? It's okay. That's fantastic. That means you've connected with them and they can trust you. You're going to have enjoyable experiences. People feel good about what they are doing. They're going to like the work that they're doing. They're going to like showing up in your classroom. They're going to have enjoyable experiences, positive energy. People's emotional batteries will start to be refueled. And here's the thing, my dear friends, as we're looking at this global pandemic and all the things that have happened, positive energy is the thing that I'm hearing over and over and over again. Over this last, 6 months, 8 months, I've talked to people in over 70 plus countries, and people's emotional batteries are drained. And so if we as leaders can start to fill those batteries back up, first, we need to fill ourselves up, right? We need to fill our own batteries, but then we can start to give positive energy into the lives of others. That's a beautiful thing, right? Because if we can start inspiring and energizing people, they're going to have more fun at work. They're going to be able to influence other people. They're going to be able to do amazing things. They're going to be able to think more creatively and more innovatively in the work that they do. So those are the things for connecting signals. So I really want you to think about, am I being that type of leader who's bringing that out? So as you can see, high achievers care about people as well as profits. They view their subordinates optimistically. They seek advice from those under them. I don't like that term, but those that they might be leading, right? They want to get information from anybody because we all have great perspectives, and they actively listen. Average achievers concentrate on production. They focus more on their own status. They're reluctant to seek advice from those under them, and they only listen to people that are above them or superior to them. And low achievers are preoccupied with their own security. They show a basic distrust of subordinates. They do not seek advice, and they avoid communication and rely on policy and manuals, right? They're very, by the book. And so I know that I'm talking to a whole bunch of high achievers, but I want you to look at this and say, okay, how am I doing? How could I improve? What am I doing well? And what might I need to focus on in the next few months? John Cotter says, great leaders win over the hearts and minds of others. Note, he does not say win over the minds of others. Hearts come first. In order to connect with other people on your team, in order to be a great leader, in order to influence others, you need to connect with their heart. You need to see everybody as a human that's of value, right? And we need to take the time and energy to develop those relationships with others. And trying to convince people in their minds to connect with you is really hard. So winning over their hearts, getting to know them as humans, getting to know all of those great things about what makes them unique is beautiful. Take some time and energy to do that in your team, and you will be amazed at what happens and how the synergy grows within your organization. Influence is not about impressing people. It is about connecting with them. So if you want to be a great leader, if you want to influence others, you need to make sure that it's not about impressing anybody, right? We're all perfectly imperfect. It's really about taking the time and energy to connect with them, to let them know that they matter and that you see them. We're going to end with this last quote. To be an exceptional leader, you must be able to communicate your ideas clearly, concisely, and inspire others to action, right? In order to launch into leadership, you need to be able to say, okay, here's where I'm at. This is what I need to do in order to influence others around me. And now let's get together and let's make some amazing things happen. I believe each and every one of you have that power within you. I am so excited to hear your journey. And now we have an opportunity for the next few moments to have a conversation about whatever it is that you want to ask me for leadership. So feel free in the comments to ask questions you might have, and we will get those answered for you. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Allison Liddle, and last but not least, I did have another slide. We have a leadership conference coming up on September 15th. Yes, it's next Wednesday in Wausau at the Grand Theater, which is a historic building, very beautiful. We've got 5 different speakers. Obviously, I will be there. I founded this conference. Scott Miller from Franklin Covey is going to be there. He is the former chief marketing officer for that company. Jesse Smith, Sheila Robertson is from Madison. She's our chief fun officer. Jesse's a sales expert. And then we have our MC, Heather Martell. If you're like, hey, I want to be energized and excited and inspired, feel free to check it out. It's launch-leadership.com. All right, friends. So I am going to go back, and then feel free to ask me any questions you might have.
I know there's a slight delay, so I'll give it a few minutes here while people are typing. But I want to go ahead and thank everyone for tuning in this afternoon. Thank you, Allison, for putting together that wonderful presentation.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I'm going to go ahead and put Allison's contact information in the chat here for those of you to make it a little bit easier, as well as anybody who is watching this after it is done being live. Got some praise coming in from Angie. She's stating she's got to run, but that it was a great presentation. While folks are wrapping up there, I also wanted to highlight again the Dream Summit that I mentioned earlier, again on October 6th and 7th. Some of the speakers that we have lined up are Tan France, Glennon Doyle, as well as Drew and Jonathan Scott, the Scott brothers. So be sure to check that out.
Yes. Glennon is amazing. I am so excited that you have her coming. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so we have Okay, I'm going to answer a question from Jamie. Do you have any specific tips or strategies for connecting with my team virtually? They're from different states and cities. Okay. So the first thing is, have you taken time and energy to set up some connections one-on-one with your team if they are virtual? So if you are working with a team in a virtual setting, one thing that I would do as a leader is I would start setting up just kind of virtual connections, whether that's 10 or 15 minutes, just to kind of have a conversation with them, see how they're doing, check in with them, and just kind of build that rapport with them. So that would be number one, is connect with them one-on-one. And then the second thing is, like I mentioned in the conversation or in the presentation, connecting a team is, you want to have fun, you want to grow synergy. So taking time and energy to do those things in your presentations and leaving a little bit of time for icebreakers or for something fun or for having some sort of award or doing something a little bit out of the ordinary. It sounds like something extra. You're like, Allison, I don't need to do this, but it really does bring fun and energy to the work that you're doing, especially if you're trying to work from different places. You want to make sure that you're trying to bring in and infuse energy into your team. And so that might be one way that you do it. Another question, how can I keep my volunteers motivated virtually when I only meet with them once a week? I would ask them, say, hey, how would you like to be motivated? One way that you might want to motivate your volunteers is by sending them surprises, right? It might be a handwritten note, which only costs you the postage. It might be having a newsletter that they can open. It might be little videos of you sharing something awesome about the work that you're working on. So when we're leading volunteers, they're doing it because they want to feel engaged with the work that you're doing. And so sharing the stories, sharing the ideas. One story that actually just came up with Andy is Dream Bank actually shared, they were so generous, and they shared dream journals they sponsored dream journals for a high school conference, leadership development conference that I was hosting last spring. And I was talking to Andy, and I was like, Andy, have I shared with you that picture of what happened at the conference? And he's like, no. And so I sent him this picture, and it was 150 young people who we spent 2.5 hours with, and they were able to launch their dreams. They're all holding up their dreams. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful illustration of how they were able to help. But maybe you can do that with the work that you do, right? Try to find the story, try to find images or videos of something impactful. All right. Okay. Thanks, friends. Oh yeah, Jennifer. Thank you. Oh yeah. Thank you, Rich. Yay. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I don't see anything else.
Yeah. So that looks like that concludes all the questions that we have. Thank you again, everybody, for taking time out of the day to join us. Thank you, Allison.
Yeah. Thank you.
With that, we will go ahead and cap it there, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks. Bye.